But okay, back to resolutions. So the resolutions committee met this past Wednesday in the evening for about 4 hours. And the majority of that time was used to try to come to a consensus on a committee substitute for the resolution that's titled Resolution on the Israeli-Palestinian Issue, the War in Gaza, Civilians, Hostages, and the Call for a Humanitarian Ceasefire. And so we also have some consent calendar resolutions, but we're going to get started with this. And I'll start by reading the resolve clause of that resolution. So it reads, resolved that the Texas Democratic Party, one, expresses its immense sorrow over the loss of innocent lives and the suffering endured by civilians in Gaza, Israel, and the broader region. Two, calls for an immediate and unconditional ceasefire, encouraging all parties to cease hostilities and prioritize the protection of civilian lives. Three, calls for the immediate release of all hostages. Four, urges the international community, including the United States, to actively support and engage in diplomatic efforts to remove from power and bring to justice those who perpetrated the October 7 massacre, supporting fundamental principles of human rights, and bring about a peaceful and just resolution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Five, stands in solidarity with the people of Israel and Palestine who are suffering from the violence and hostilities. Six, supports equality and self-determination for the Palestinian people who do not have a state of their own. Seven, calls upon the United States and international governments to facilitate a two-state solution through, quote, direct negotiations between willing and responsible partners, unquote, as called for in our state platform, where all parties recognize the state of Israel and the state of Palestine. Eight, calls on Texas Democrats to recognize the humanity of both Palestinians and Israelis when commenting on the crisis, and condemns the rhetoric that leads to violence here and overseas. Nine, calls on the Texas congressional delegation to advocate for a comprehensive and peaceful resolution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict that respects the rights and aspirations of all parties. 10, commits itself to raising awareness about the Israeli-Palestinian issue and fostering dialogue and understanding within our own party and among our constituents. 11, condemns any and all acts of terrorism perpetrated by Hamas, which has been designated a terrorist organization by the US government as of October 8, 1997, as designated by the US Secretary of State in accordance with Section 219 of the Immigration and Nationality Act, INA, as amended. And finally, 12, supports President Biden's efforts to seek a peaceful resolution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And that's the resolve line. And I just wanted to thank our resolutions committee members for the dozens of amendments that were addressed, and the consensus committee on the consensus committee substitute, and on this resolution. This resolution was actually passed unanimously. And so there was a lot of work that went into it, not just from the members of the committee, but from our parliamentarians, the staff and leadership of the resolutions committee. In particular, our chair, Bella Armenta, who wasn't able to join us today. We all know it's a complicated and emotional issue for us, and we just appreciate all the hard work that happened in committee to hash this out, and have a committee substitute that had unanimous approval from the committee. So the resolutions committee recommends adoption of this committee substitute, although Chair, I think we know that at least one amendment is coming, but we recommend adoption.
Would you also move adoption, David?
Yes, I do.
You move adoption?
Yes, sir. Yeah. I move adoption.